Hi guys. Today's video is going to be me talking about things I hate about groups I love. Do note that that isn't a hate video at all, and just because I want my faves to improve in certain aspects doesn't mean that I dislike them. If I didn't like a group then I wouldn't bother to put them in a video. Now would I? And obviously there are things I do like about these groups, but this video isn't about those. Despite me saying that, I know that some of you all are going to get mad anyways, so if you are one of those people please leave now. Thanks. I hope you enjoy the video because I think it's a pretty new idea and I couldn't find any other similarly titled videos out there. Without further ado, let's get started. The thing that I dislike most about ITZY is their music. What on earth is going on there? Their title tracks are all amazing, but then you get to the B-sides and it's like what? Especially with their first mini album itsy, which only had 2 new B-sides and the other 2 were literal remixes of their past songs. So then with It's Me I saw there were going to be 7 songs and was excited, but then when I actually listened to the album they all sounded really similar and none of them were good. I don't know if JYP is trying to rush the content or something, but I wish more effort was put into ITZY's B-sides. You can have a musical style without having low effort music. Another thing I'm kind of annoyed about with ITZY is their concept. Don't get me wrong, I think that they do the concept well and it works well for them. But the thing is, you can only do the different concepts so many times before you start to be the same. Whether that means being the same as groups which are starting to imitate you or the same as your own past releases. At this point every song they do is just radiating I'm not like other girls energy. I hope that in the future they do songs that are less about look at how confident I am and maybe more about how they learn to love themselves or something. Dear ITZY, we get the message, but maybe it's time to move on. This last thing I'm less annoyed about and more confused, and that's their international promotion strategy. What was the point of going on tour in the US when they only had 5 original songs to their name? That tour didn't draw in any new fans because it didn't showcase anything. It was just for the fans they already had in the US, and because it was a showcase and not a concert, it was really short. I was going to go, actually, but the price they were charging was not worth hearing only 5 songs from them. I think JYP just wanted to say that ITZY had been on tour for the sake of publicity and not because the tour was actually supposed to be good. Let ITZY have a real tour in a couple of years when they actually have songs to perform on it. A lot of my problems with Red Velvet lie with SM. For example, what is going on with Red Velvet's international promotions? As in, where are they? Their Red Mare tour in 2018 got barely any promotion compared to the tours of SM boy groups, and still the place was packed. I assume that La Rouge was supposed to be a tour as well, but if that is true it of course would have been cancelled because of you know what. If it ever happens there had better be improved international promotions, such as Red Velvet going on American TV shows like NCT and Super M get to do. Now some people are going to hate me for this, but another bad thing about Red Velvet that needs to be addressed is Wendy's racism. I am not black, so I don't get to decide whether to stand Wendy or not because of it, and that is something that Revelovs really need to get through their heads. I'm not sure if this is an SM problem or a Wendy problem, but an apology still hasn't been issued, and I think that SM just decided that if they never talk about it, then new Revelovs will never find out and everyone will go on their merry way. Newsflash, that's not how it works. So if people decide not to stand Red Velvet because of this then let them do so. You don't get to say whether their choice is right or wrong. Though Red Velvet and SM might be pretending like it never happened, at the very least Revelovs need to do the right thing, which means acknowledging it and letting people make their own decisions. I've said all I needed to say about that heavy topic, so a less serious thing I would like Red Velvet, or rather the SM design team, to improve is their album packaging. Here is a picture of my Red Velvet album collection. You will notice that I have not bought a single album with a jewel case, and that's because they are terrible. SM has to go and literally ruin the most perfect photo shoot ever, peekaboo, with an album that has a freaking jewel case in it, so now I won't buy it. The fact that Red Velvet's album packaging and inclusions only just started getting good this year just goes to show that SM keeps putting them at the wayside over and over. Alright, that's all I've got for Red Velvet. I'll move on now. I think a lot of onces share the opinion that JYP treats Twice like a literal money printer, and their most recent comeback, More and More, couldn't be stronger proof for that. Lately, everything Twice has put out screams low effort, high returns, and that's what JYP is getting, so I don't see them stopping anytime soon. First of all, I have never ever seen a group produce as much merch as Twice does, and they know that super onces will literally go and buy every item every time. Have you seen SQ K-pop's channel? IZ*ONE, Twice, and 17 are the only groups I have seen recently who have the audacity to produce over 100 photocards for a single album. But back to More and More, that's a comeback that I would have expected a couple of years ago when they were coming back basically every 3 months. Back then, something that amazed me was that Twice comebacks were always so high quality despite being produced in such a short amount of time, and with overworking to girls to no end, of course. But now we get a low quality comeback which is the first after the longest break they've ever had between comebacks. Just saying. JYP had the time and the money to make everything about this comeback perfect and they couldn't be bothered. I hope Twice improves for their next comeback this year. The final thing that I hate about Twice is the lack of focus or promotion on their individual skills. So many people claim that Twice are untalented, or they are only famous because they are either pretty, from JYP, or both. Twice simply don't have enough content of them performing individually, other than maybe Momo's dancing, to prove anything to haters. Do you know how many times I've seen that one Chaeyoung rap performance played over and over to justify how good of a rapper she is? She needs more. It's not like the members are incapable of showing their talents. They just don't get enough opportunities. Especially Chewie, who gets so much hate for just being a visual with absolute dust being paid to her dancing skills. But instead of letting her film a solo dance performance or something, JYP goes and releases a solo photo book. That is not helping. We need more things like the piano and vocal cover of Feel Special that Dahyun released for her birthday. That was absolute gold. At this point we are just going to have to wait 5 years for Twice to disband and then finally they'll start doing more of their own stuff. The thing I dislike most about LOONA is their title tracks. Believe it or not, LOONA's B-sides are all amazing, but then their title tracks? First of all, they have absolutely no consistency. I don't have a problem with switching concepts or song styles, but doing both so abruptly is not for me. There is absolutely nothing in common between Hi Hi, Butterfly, and So What. Like, literally zero. It just seems to me that they keep trying new things and hope that one of them will gain some traction, but what they need to do instead is appeal to the fanbase that they already have, most of which have followed them since before debut. Now that they got their first win with So What, I hope that they will stick to that style in the future. Although maybe not, because that is their worst song in my opinion. I don't know. Another thing I dislike about LOONA is the LOONAverse, or lack thereof. Yes, Jaden Jong left, so there isn't much hope, but at the very least we could have some crumbs. It might seem like a waste of time and money to continue the LOONAverse, but I disagree. The LOONAverse is what got me, and I think many other fans as well, into LOONA, and I think it could draw in many more fans in the future. After all, fans who don't like it can just ignore it. It's not hurting LOONA in any way to continue it. I also don't know if this has to do with the LOONAverse or not, but where is the YY by Y repackage? Huh, yeah, we are going to need that, stat. RBW, please, we need better international promotion. Mamamoo have gotten so many more international fans since HIP, but RBW ignores them. If you didn't know, Solar has her own YouTube channel Solashido with multiple uploads per week. And do you know who makes the subtitles for that? Fans do. Fans are doing all the hard work for these and in response they get nothing. The least RBW could do is upload their own subtitles in a timely manner, which at the very least they have started to do with Mamamoo TV. However, old seasons of Mamamoo TV aren't subbed yet, so they had better get on that. Honestly, that's all I've got for Mamamoo. On to the next. I have the same problem with G-Idol that I do with many of the other groups in this video, and that's album quality. I understand that Seyeon is only one person, so of course she can't do everything, which is what she has been doing for the entirety of G-Idol's career. The logical next step here would be for G-Idol to space their comebacks out more so she has more time to work, but at the same time they are an idol group, which means comebacks pretty often. What ends up happening is that Cube gives them digital single after digital single, which is super lame. Like, I so do not appreciate that. Maybe Minnie and Dookie getting more into producing nowadays will help Seyeon out a little bit. And now to the heavy stuff. Like with the Red Velvet situation, Seyeon's cultural appropriation is something that needs to be addressed. Again, if you are not part of the group that she is culturally appropriating, there are multiple instances, then you don't get to decide whether to take offense or not. Let people understand if they want to. Should Seyeon apologize? I don't know, because while I personally do not think she had malicious intent at any point, that doesn't mean that she and Cube shouldn't at least acknowledge that the situation is a thing at all. Sweeping things under the rug is never a good look no matter what it is, and I think this applies to all entertainment companies and idols. Actually, at the very least we need to hear Seyeon's side of the story. Alright guys, with that being said, that is going to be it for this video. I had other groups that I wanted to include in this video, but it was getting too long, so let me know if you want a part 2. Also, I thought this was an original idea, so if you end up using it somehow, please give me credit. Yeah, I know I said I would make a Red Velvet unpopular opinions video next, but other video ideas like this one just keep coming up and I have to make them before I forget them. Pretty much. As always, I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I did making it. Bye guys, and I'll see you in the next one.